Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.
Happy Friday before the Super Bowl, everybody. We always start the show by saying Friday starts the weekend, but this Friday starts the Super Bowl weekend. It is here, and we are here to bring you all the best Super Bowl props and stats that we can find to help make your Super Bowl a profitable one. Joining me, as always, my fellow prop masters, Matt Josephs from sportsmemo.com and Andrew McInnis from WagerTalk.com. We are going right through the fun stats and into our thoughts and overviews on the Super Bowl. We got a lot to get to. So, Matt Josephs, I'm coming to you right now. First off, tell us what you got this weekend. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of Super Bowl, but also talk to us about how you think the props have evolved, changed over the week. Any surprises that you've seen, any lines that have moved or are holding steady that jumped off the page for you?
Well, I'll just say this. I hit the under on the fun stats section. I had under 4.5 fun stats to start the show today, and we had 0, so therefore I won. So I'm already up a winner.
First cash.
I'll say this. I mean, it's been interesting to watch some of the props. You know, I've been putting in some of them that I've been kind of afraid would move, but there's also some that I want to make sure there's no last-minute injuries. The interesting thing for this Super Bowl is 2 of the biggest positions on each team, there's some injury concerns about. The tight end position on both sides. Look, I'm interested in Tyler Higbee or Kendall Blanton if we find out and get some clarity on that position, because the Bengals have been terrible. They give 17 receptions to the 2 tight ends so far. Now, granted, look, it was Waller and Kelsey, but, like, that's still pretty good. And so I think whoever it is that's going to play is going to be busy. And then you also kind of look at, like, you look at some of these special teams, because obviously I'm the special teams guru here on the show, and just looking at some of the things that you can bet on. We've opened up so many markets through this show, guys, and I feel like I'm starting to look at some of these, like, kickoff props and punting props and return props and things like that. So I think the fact that we've done this show, we've kind of opened our minds to new areas. It's certainly made things interesting. And also, final thing I'll say is there's some books that have done a really good job with this. I'll say Caesars has done a really good job. There are hundreds of props online in sports books, but I'll say, like, FanDuel's been disappointing. I'll say DraftKings has been somewhat disappointing. BetMGM's been somewhat disappointing. So I'm assuming more props will come out on Sunday, but, like, so far, Caesars has been killing it.
It's interesting you bring that up. I've been surprised by some of the lack of props on DraftKings. They just put some out, and they just really haven't changed. The lines haven't changed. The props haven't changed. Offshore, I will give a shout out to my friends over at Bet Online. They've done well with props, and my bookie has had a ton of props, and I got up this morning and they added even more. So, Matt, I'm with you. I think that's a really good call. Some books have fallen short, and some have really exceeded expectations. Andrew, coming to you. Thoughts on the markets? Anything that's jumped off the page, surprised you? What are you feeling like on this Friday?
Yeah, Andy, I've never really heard someone give a shout out to their own bookie like that, man. Yeah, good stuff. Very generous of you. Very nice of you. Yeah, you know what? I think it's been interesting, guys. It's been a lot of hype. Obviously, we had our show last week, the prop season, going over some props we already liked, and we'll talk about that a little bit again this week. But honestly, I kind of disagree as far as, like, kind of the availability. I think it's been a fill in the blank here, a cluster blank on a lot of these websites. I mean, it's been kind of hard to navigate. I've been kind of disappointed with, the accessibility to finding certain props. I don't know. I think that there's just been so many, obviously, offerings, and this is obviously the weekend and the game that everyone's going to bet that maybe doesn't usually bet, or they're going to have a little bit of fun and toss money on the halftime, or, on this guy to get more yards than this guy, and all those interesting stuff you don't usually bet during the regular season. But we have seen some stuff move, but to be honest with you, I didn't get in as early as I wanted to on a couple of them, but there was 1 or 2 that I definitely got in out the gate right away. But I'll tell you what, Andy, one of the ones I've really kind of fallen into was, the comparing the players, who will get more rushing yards, this guy or that guy, or receiving yards or touchdowns, vice versa. And I've got a few interesting cross-sport props to get into as well later in the show.
Love it. I have been surprised at the lack of movement on some of the lines. Normally, when we see some of these props, the numbers go up. Like normally, I would expect some rushing yard props to go up 5, 6, 7, 8 yards. Sometimes that's what we saw during the regular season. That has not happened. Same with some of the receiving yards. I have expected guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Cooper Kupp to have a lot of volatility, and I haven't seen that. That's been very, very different this year. I've been happy with the amount of props that I've had. I thought last year I walked away and I said, gosh, I just had too many of them. So I've enjoyed dialing down the amount of props and just focus on the ones that I feel the most confident about. So, all right, guys, we are going
Andy,
to
let
have
me,
our.
let me just add
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So I think the interesting thing is when Sean McVay came out, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday, and said Darrell Henderson's going to play, and there were no Darrell Henderson props, and then there were no Sony Michel props, and so now, like, look, we're trying to figure out that backfield here. I mean, there could be some value on Akers' unders, there could be some value on his overs, because remember, the Rams during the regular season were our hot hand. If there was one of their two guys that was doing really well, they got the majority of the carries. So I think, Andy, that's why you haven't seen as much in at least the Rams running back room, because we don't know what the breakdown's going to be between those three.
Yeah, it's Sean McVay trying to throw everybody off the scent. I'd be stunned if they just all of a sudden Darrell Henderson gets 10 carries out of nowhere. So we will have our best bets at the end of the show, but we are going to go into some different categories, and we are going to start with the national anthem and halftime props. We have Mickey Guyton doing the national anthem, and we have Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J. Blige. And there are rumors that there might possibly, and you can bet on this, if the Tupac Shakur hologram makes an appearance at the Super Bowl to do the California Love song. So, Matt, coming to you, what do you got for halftime and national anthem thoughts?
Well, so I want to thank you first, because I have no idea who Mickey Guyton is, and I was, I was looking around and looking. I thought it was Jalen Guyton, the Chargers wide receiver, was going to be doing the anthem, and then I was like, well, I know he could sing, and so but I mean, so look, the first thing you do when it comes to the anthem, you go to YouTube. There were 2 clips of her singing the national anthem. One was at some presidential event, and she went under, and she sailed through, and it was pretty smooth pacing and everything. And then there was an event back in 2015. It was like a convention or something, and it looked like she was going over, but it was more of like a musical convention where maybe she was trying to show off, and that's why she would go over. So, like, there's some cases to the over and some cases to the under. I usually don't touch the anthem part, especially if I don't know who it is. And then the halftime, like, I'm really just looking forward to the halftime. The interesting prop, I feel like, is the song prop, the number of songs. There's 5 people performing, so you figure there's going to be some where they're performing together. I think I saw 8 was the number. It's a little high, I feel like, especially if we get whole songs. I feel like maybe there's some under there, but, like, I'm really looking forward to this halftime show. I don't usually look forward to the halftime show, but if the NFL doesn't, like, force these guys to be, like, boring, then it could be one of the best of all time.
Interesting. Yeah, we've got a prop on how many times will Eminem curse during the halftime show, over under 1.5 times. So you're looking really to spice it up. Take the over on that one. Andrew, I know you don't have a ton, but your thoughts on the anthem and the halftime show?
Well, yeah, I think that first of all, research is always hilarious with these type of props, because, I mean, hats off to Matt for that. But look, I found that there hasn't been a anthem shorter than 95 seconds since 2012 with Kelly Clarkson. And you look at some of these props, and especially, like, with Eric Church last year, and all the different people that do it, you're always trying to convince yourself why you shouldn't take the under. And at least I am, but then you think, like, the theatrics of it, the Super Bowl, everyone wants to kind of stretch it out and hit those big notes. And so, hey, I've done it. I don't do it every year. I don't bet the anthem every year. I'm on the over. I've bet the over. I'm taking it. I am not as excited as Matt about the halftime show. That's probably my girlfriend's favorite part of Sunday, probably coming up. I'll be refilling the beverages and stocking up on food for the second half. But I will be watching the anthem, and hopefully it's a really long one.
I'm gonna sprinkle the under on the Anthem. The last Anthem she did was right at this mark, as Matt mentioned. She sings with pace, and she doesn't hold her notes too long. That's you can gain like 5 to 6 seconds at the end with that, home of the brave. She doesn't do that. So a lot of value on the under. I'll bring up an interesting one here. How many planes will be in the flyover? The over-under is at 5. The reason is we actually know how many planes are going to be in the flyover, and that's 5. They're doing this special flyover. They're having planes from 5 different bases. So don't play the over. If anything, you play the under, and if something happens that there's weather in a certain area and a plane can't take off, or for some reason one of the planes can't make it, you can cash that. But if you take 5 planes under, and the 5 planes do complete the flyover, then it's going to be you're gonna pass on it. Like, you're gonna get voided. But there's no way it's going over. So just sprinkle a little bit on the under. And then a bet that I particularly like on my bookie. It's not your bookie. It's my bookie. Will there be low riders? Minus 200. Absolutely, there's going to be low riders. If they can bring out a gigantic stage, they're definitely going to bring out lowriders for Snoop and Dre for those songs. I think minus 200 is quite a bargain. And then they have number of references to marijuana during halftime, over 2.5. I mean, this is a show that features Snoop. So I feel like anytime you have Snoop and marijuana in a bet, you're going to the over on that one. So I would definitely recommend over 2.5 marijuana references. They also have, will Snoop smoke a blunt on stage? I think that's taking it a bit too far. Got to keep those lungs clear for when he sings or performs or whatever it is. So
really, right, Andy, that's where you draw the line. That's where you draw the line. Keep the lungs.
Do you know how hard
Snoop
it is
Dogg
to rap and then get the like the thing, sipping on juice?
I don't. I don't have experience with it. No, I don't.
Really? Not on stage when you're rapping?
Jalen Guyton knows, though.
Yeah, so I like the under in that one. I like the aircraft under 5 planes, but it's going to be a really cool flyover. I've looked it over, and it's one of a kind for the Super Bowl. So, all right, let's go to Cross Sports. This is one that DraftKings, I think, has done actually a pretty good job. You can bet on Super Bowl plus NBA, Super Bowl plus soccer, Super Bowl plus NHL, and Super Bowl plus MMA. Andrew, I know you enjoy this one, so I'll go to you. Give us some Cross Sports thoughts and props for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so there's a couple I like, but I'll just, there's one kind of sticks out to me here. This is obviously for Sunday. I have seen some where it's, NHL games the next day or even 2 days later with props kind of competing against the Super Bowl. But this one is Sidney Crosby points on Sunday versus the New Jersey Devils versus Cooper Kupp touchdowns. And I'm going to go ahead and lock in Sidney Crosby points here against the New Jersey Devils. We do a buy and sell segment on Puck Time, guys. The Devils are my clear sell team. We have seen 8 points from Sidney Crosby over his last 5 games. He's been someone really stepping things up, especially when there's been some injuries with the team. And they're playing a bottom feeder. So I feel like he'll get his. And look, Cooper Kupp, he's going to get one, I think. Will he get a handful? I'm not sure. I feel like if the Rams have success, they're going to diversify who they're going to in the end zone. So I really like that one. Sidney Crosby have more points than Cooper Kupp touchdowns. The next one was Nick Suzuki, Montreal points versus Matthew Stafford's interceptions. Look, I think that you got to give the cake to Matthew Stafford when it comes to that one here. I mean, this is a guy I think we're all counting on to throw an interception. There's a reason why he's in the minus 170 ballpark to throw that interception. The interesting thing is here, guys, for anybody out there that's a hockey fan, the Canadians are playing the Buffalo Sabres, which is why this is kind of a comparable matchup, because if there's anybody in the league, any team out there that Suzuki's going to play well against, well, it is the Buffalo Sabres. But hey, I think we're going to get at least 1, if not 2 interceptions out of Matthew Stafford this weekend. And if that's the case, hey, I'll bank on Nick Suzuki having an off day. And for a team that's averaging less than 3 goals a game, around 2.3 in the ballpark of that per game, that's not really too many opportunities for Suzuki to get a point. So I'll bank on some interceptions from Stafford versus my man Nick Suzuki getting on the board with a point.
Love it. Great stuff. Mixing the Super Bowl with NHL. Matt Josephs coming to you from sportsmemo.com. Cross sports. Anything strike your fancy here?
So I got the short end of the stick here. A lot of the books don't have anything for college basketball, but I'll say this, the Las Vegas Superbook, which you can also do in Colorado and New Jersey, have put up some very fascinating ones. And guys, a couple weeks ago, I had a graphic, which is rare for this show. Well, I've got another graphic to help me out for today's show, and let's take a look at that. I mean, I'm just saying, guys, I have a graphic. I didn't say it was going to help anything, but it's a graphic. So thanks to the graphic department for that one. But in all seriousness, there are some interesting props that I feel like on the Superbook, and this is for the people in, I believe, as I said, New Jersey, Colorado, Vegas, and there's a fourth place that Las Vegas is. But they have who will have more tournament wins, and there's a couple of them. They have Arizona versus Matt Stafford, touchdown passes and interceptions. They have Kentucky versus Joe Burrow, touchdown passes and interceptions. They have Gonzaga versus Tyler Boyd, receptions. And then there's a couple of others. But I think, look, this is where the college basketball fans' dream comes in. I think Gonzaga can win the national championship. And if they do, that's the 7 wins. There's no way Tyler Boyd's getting 7 receptions. So I like the Gonzaga NCAA tournament wins over Tyler Boyd. I also think that, look, Arizona, I think, is a team that's going to go pretty far. I think Matthew Stafford may have 2 touchdown passes and 1 interception. So that's 3. And then I get Arizona plus a half. I think Arizona can make the Final Four. There's a good chance that's 5 wins right there, 4 or 5 wins. So I like Arizona here. And then I also think Kentucky's going to do really well. I think Kentucky tournament wins versus Joe Burrow, touchdown passes and interceptions. Once again, I think he has 2 touchdowns potentially and 1 interception. So I think Kentucky, Arizona, and Gonzaga, their props are all very interesting, and that's courtesy of the Superbook. Currently, the only place I've seen any college basketball versus Super Bowl cross-sport props.
That is a good one. That Gonzaga one is fantastic. If I had access to that one, I would absolutely play that one. I cannot play any Super Bowl with NBA props now because I need to wait till Sunday for the starting lineups of NBA. But there is a cross-sport Super Bowl with UFC. Then the UFC fights are tomorrow on Saturday. Will there be more total rounds in the Israel Adesanya Robert Whittaker fight or touchdowns in the Super Bowl? To me, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to take the Super Bowl at minus 165. So if the fight goes the distance, that's 5 rounds max. I don't think 6 touchdowns is out of the question in a game like this. So if they get to 6, it's an easy win. And then the other thing is, these guys fought a couple years ago. Adesanya knocked out Whittaker in the 2nd round. And Adesanya has gotten better, like way better since then. He's coming off of a couple of decision wins, but those were against guys in, one of them was Jan Blachowicz in a different weight class. So no wonder that one went through a decision. If Adesanya gets a knockout early, this is an easy cash. And like I said, even if it goes 5 rounds, I don't see why these teams can't score 6 touchdowns. So Andrew, I saw you wrote a really good article about the Derek Lewis tie Tuivasa. Interested in your thoughts on this one. More total rounds in the Adesanya Whittaker fight or touchdowns in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I still think that even if it goes the distance, look, I'll just say it. I like the over in the Super Bowl, so that could kind of tell you right there which pick I like.
Yeah.
For those. I think we're going to see lots of points.
Yeah, so let's move on to.
I gotta say, Andy, though, that's a really funny cross sport. I thought, I'm a hockey guy. The hockey ones, I could find some value and stuff like that. But UFC, how many rounds? How many rounds will a guy last in a cage before compared to touchdowns in a? That's intense, man. That's intense.
Well, we're getting ready to bet on cleavage when we get to best bets, so don't roll anything out on this show. So let's just go to, I'm just calling this one random novelty props. This is just anything that kind of comes up that we found kind of interesting. I'll go first. I found an interesting one. Will the Ethereum price be over or under 3,000 at the end of the game? Well, first off, just wait till Sunday and see what it's at. You don't need to make this bet now, but I will say the price of Ethereum has been holding steady above 3,000 for the last 5 or 6 days. Right now, it's at 3,103. Not a lot of volatility in the market. So I would lean Ethereum is going to be over 3,000 at the end of the game. Matt Josephs, coming to you. Give us a random novelty prop.
Well, random novelty prop. I did a lot of research on will the opening kick be a touchback? That's pretty novelty, I would say. I went through all 20 games for each team, and I found that Evan McPherson has kicked 14 touchbacks in 19 of his games for his first kicks. 9 of them were when the game started, of the 12 times when they kicked off first. And then Matt Gay has had 12 touchbacks in 20 games for his first kick. He's kicked 6 touchbacks in the 7 kicks that was the opening of the game. I feel like, look, this one's going to see a lot of adrenaline. I think we're going to get a touchback to start. So I put like a half a unit on yes, the opening kickoff will be a touchback. So I'll either be really happy early or really sad and chasing early on in this Super Bowl.
Chasing when this is the opening kickoff prop.
Matt, you haven't been watching the Pat McAfee show then. That's what you're
Why,
telling me with
what's
that
he
prop.
got?
He was talking about how the ball from the kickoff goes right to the Hall of Fame, and so apparently there's like a huge stat and trend as far as there not being touchbacks for the opening kickoff in Super Bowls because they just grab the ball and hand it off to the sideline or something like that. I don't know exactly what the storyline there was, but that kind of goes against the grain from what I was just about to say. So I don't really want to keep going, but. I only have one, and this is
this is great. Keep going. This is amazing.
Well, I don't want to just disagree with Matt like that, but I clearly he the trends were on different pages, I guess, with that one. But here's one I have, Andy, and this is one that I don't know if we're going to even have this up still. Drake just placed a massive wager on the Rams to win, and he tweeted out or put it on Instagram. He's cheering for the Rams on the spread. You can get him still at some sports books at -220 to be wearing a Rams jersey during the game. So I'm assuming if you put like $500,000 on the Rams, he probably won't wear a Bengals jersey. So you can go ahead and give me the -220 on Drake to wear a Rams jersey.
You're right. I would guess he's not wearing a Joe Burrow jersey. That is,
and if he did, that would be very, very weird.
Very
but it would be fitting for Drake.
True.
It absolutely would. So I have one more. It's a +170. Who will catch a pass first, Odell Beckham or Cooper Kupp? Take Odell at +170. 2 out of the 3 playoff games, the first play for the Rams has been a pass to Odell Beckham. So they designed something and they get Odell going first. Obviously, you would think, oh, Cooper Kupp, he's number 1, but it appears that they look at Odell earlier than they do Cooper Kupp. So I'd look for a set pass to Odell Beckham. So, all right, guys, I'm going to throw out some just a couple of little novelty props here and just get your guys' initial reactions here. Super Bowl MVP thanks first. Team or teammates is +100. The city and the fans is +275. So Matt, teammates +100. It seems pretty obvious. If we're looking at quarterbacks, it's Stafford and it's Stafford and Burrow. Who will the MVP thank first in their interview? Any thoughts?
Well, so Stafford, I would feel like would thank the fans first, or he would thank the Lions for getting him out of there. It probably would be the fans, I would think. Burrow, I think, would be more of a team guy, I'm guessing. I want to thank the team. He'd be smoking his cigar, maybe. I'm guessing team for the Bengals and fans for the Rams.
thanking there is a prop I saw for like, will Eminem wear a Detroit Lions jersey -900? It's like, why would he wear a Detroit Lions jersey? It's the dumbest thing. Come out and wear a
Honestly,
Detroit
that's one of my
Lions jersey.
biggest pet peeves in sports. When you go to a sporting event and somebody's there wearing a jersey of a completely different team, I just always found that kind of weird. I got to ask Andy, what were the odds on the Lord thanking the Lord first before anybody else?
Plus 350.
Okay.
Plus 350. I agree with Matt that if it's Burrow, he's going right to teammates. Young guy like that, and then Stafford. I think the fans is actually a pretty good one, Matt. If he wins and the stadium's going nuts, it's a very rare feeling for Stafford to have the fans happy with you. So it might be very.
But are there going to
very
actually be any Ram fans there, or just like executives that can afford those tickets?
I think this is going to be a Rams. I think the Rams fans, the ones that jumped on the bandwagon towards the end of the season, are going to come out, and I think Stafford kind of throws them a solid and says that. So, Andrew, any thoughts on the Gatorade shower? You going with water, Gatorade color?
Well, I've been calling equipment managers and athletic trainers in LA all morning, trying to figure this out here. Look, I think I'm going to go with blue for the Rams, and obviously the square one here with orange for the Bengals. So, that's kind of the two that I have.
I like it. And Matt, we haven't seen any volatility or any line changes in the MVP. Stafford's at plus 100, Burrow plus 225, Cooper Kupp plus 600. Have you had any changes of thought or anything striking out on MVP yet?
I put a very little down on Von Miller. I still think he's a very viable person. I would say Odell is worth potentially a look here. And then on the Bengals side, I would say, maybe a T. Higgins if you're looking, because look, I don't want to necessarily bet the favorites. Burrow, Stafford, and Kupp are probably going to win if either team wins. So I'm going to try and find somebody else. I think T. Higgins could have a real good game, Odell Beckham, and then Von Miller's my long shot. I think if he gets 2 sacks, a fumble recovery, a touchdown, and just generally wreaks havoc, then I think there's no. And by the way, the Colorado Superbook bumped him up to 100-1. So I would say if you have that too, make sure to look at that. 100-1 for something like that. I would put the smallest amount you could put on it and just have some fun and hope he does well.
And finally, Andrew, you mentioned that you thought there are going to be a lot of points. Does this translate into some player props that you like? Like, are you focusing on the passing game and wide receivers or rushing game? If you like the over, surely there's got to be some yards. So any thoughts on the player prop markets before we get to our best bets?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one that all three of us like quite a bit was the Joe Mixon receiving yards. I think that, obviously he's not a guy that's going to explode for 60 yards probably, but he's going to be someone's going to get the ball in his hands quite a bit out the backfield, I think, and they're going to give him the ball a decent amount of times. Odell Beckham Jr. is someone on my radar. I talked about him last week as well. And then Matt talks about T. Higgins there. So, look, I think it's going to be, really, really heavy pass games. We're going to start the game off with lots of rushing from both teams. But I think as the game opens up, once the first team scores, then kind of the floodgates will start to open up. We'll see some fun plays develop. I wanted to say for Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase, I think that I think both their longest reception prop have an opportunity to cash this weekend. I do like kind of the secondary guys with Odell and T. Higgins on both teams receiving. But if I'm playing Cooper or if I'm playing Jamar, I'm looking at the longest reception. And as far as MVP, can we all agree that it's definitely would not be a shocker if the Rams win and Stafford doesn't win it? Like, that's not really a shock to anybody, right? I know, Matt, you were saying like long shot there with Miller and stuff like that, but like I really don't think it's a shock if the Rams win this and Stafford isn't the MVP. And usually the quarterback is the go-to guy, right? But I'll tell people out there, if you love the Bengals, which a lot of people, are buying into the story, do not bet, you're hanging with your friends, your recreational bettor, do not bet the Bengals money line. Bet Burrow to win the MVP, because if they win the game, he's going to be the MVP of that team, and the odds are a lot better. But I think it's completely different as far as the Rams go. I think it's a lot more up in the air as far as who the MVP will be.
I don't know. If Stafford wins, he's been around the league so long. It's kind of like a shout out to him and kind of a default thing. Like how many more opportunities is he going to get? It's so hard to make it back to the Super Bowl. So I don't know, but I do agree that plus 100, the odds are just terrible. They're not worth it at all. So, all
Andy,
right,
I'll
it
give
is
you
time
one.
for, yeah, go
Andy,
ahead.
I'll give you one. All right, which commercial is going to play first? Meta, Amazon Prime Video, or Google?
Oh, wow. Meta, Amazon Prime, or Google. I actually, in production, I've actually been pretty good at finding the beer spots and finding what beer commercials are going to add or who's bought the most commercials. With those, I would say Amazon Prime is going to air first because I think Amazon is crazy enough and just psychopath enough to say we want people to think of Amazon packages being delivered early. So we want the first commercial to be aired first. We don't want to be at the end. We don't want people to think of us being last. We want people to think of us being first. So I would say Amazon Prime coming up first with a commercial that's funny, but also with the underlying tone of who's first and early. Amazon Prime. So give me Amazon Prime in that one.
That's it's plus 200 at the book I'm looking at for that one. By the way, there is one that is the beers. It's Budweiser, Bud Light Next, Michelob Ultra, Bud Light Seltzer, Michelob Ultra Seltzer, or Cutwater Spirits.
I have no idea what Cutwater.
I'll tell you what. By the end of this show, or even by the time Sunday comes, I'm going to have another conversation with you two, or I'm going to have a conversation with myself, and you guys are going to have me convinced on having like a grocery list of props after this show. I mean, betting on clothing, how many songs someone's going to sing. I mean, what advertisements we're going to see. I'm going to be glued to the TV like never before. Matt, I have to retract a statement here live on this show about what I said last week about not having that many props and treating it like any other game, because clearly we aren't doing that right now. I don't know about you guys, but it's all in good fun. But manage your bankrolls appropriately. I'll be that guy and say that.
So what happens is Saturday and Sunday you can start finding how many ads these different beer companies are going to run. And so what you do is you find the beer company that is going to have the most commercials. And you bet that they're going to run one first, because they're not going to run them all in a cluster in the second half. They're going to run one up front. They're going to run one in the middle and one at the end. Traditionally, the Budweiser Clydesdales commercials are towards the end because they want, you're going to laugh at this, but they want people that have drank more. That way they're more emotional. And when the Clydesdales come on, they can get tears out of people. That's actual research that has been done. So I'm ruling out Budweiser. I'm ruling out the club, whatever thing. I know Budweiser Seltzer cashed 2 years ago as the first commercial. So I'll go with the Budweiser Seltzer. By the way, one of the worst tasting seltzers on the market. So no wonder they need the advertising time on the Super Bowl. There's a reason the good tasting ones aren't advertising. It's word of mouth, which is a lot cheaper. So, all right, guys, we're going to get into best bets. So Matt Josephs, I'm coming to you from sportsmemo.com. First off, tell us what you got this weekend and give us your best bet for the Super Bowl.
Well, so I got 7 props already, about another 4 or so that may go up on Sunday. Just want to make sure there's no freak injuries or anything like that. And you can get that at sportsmemo.com. Promo code PROP50 for 50% off if you want to take advantage of that. And college basketball had a nice 5-0 day yesterday. We're taking the day off on college basketball, but huge cards on Saturday and a couple games on Sunday as well. All right, best bet for today. Once again, I mean, I'm the special teams guru here. So I've got to go with under 4.5 kickoff returns, which I found. I feel like we have to say, at least if they're somewhat offbeat, where you found them. I found on Caesars. And this does not include fair catches. This does not include touchbacks. This is legit kickoff returns. And so I did the research. The Rams have played 14 indoor games so far this season. 13 of them have seen less than 4.5 returns. Matt Gay has had touchbacks on 72% of his indoor kicks and 63.7% overall. The Bengals have played just 2 indoor games. Now, unfortunately, both of those went over the 4.5, and Evan McPherson only has touchbacks in 50% of his indoor kicks, but he has 63.9% touchbacks overall. I think the Rams may score a little bit more than the Bengals, which means Gay kicks a little bit more. I like the under here. Now, look, this is one of those things where, like Andrew said, manage your bankroll. Don't go nuts. Don't put hundreds of dollars on this. But it's one of my ones that I really like. Under 4.5 kickoff returns. Inside a dome, I just don't think we're going to get a lot of kicks. Nowadays, people just boom it through the end zone.
Matt Josephs from sportsmemo.com coming to you. Andrew McInnis, WagerTalk.com. Tell us what you have this weekend and give us your best bet for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, we're pumped to have our prop packages going, guys. Definitely gonna be more props for me than just side and total wagers. I told you guys I like points in this game, so I'm not going to really give it, sell that. I like the over, but lots of props to be had. I went 6-2 last year in the Super Bowl with TD scores, rushing yard props, all that good stuff in between. And I have a 5% play up this weekend in UFC. I had cash one last weekend, my first time ever, I believe, back-to-back weekends, the 5% in UFC, 2021 #1 handicapper with 5% UFC plays. But as far as the best bet for this show, and I just want to thank all of you guys for tuning in and watching us all year long, we're going with a defensive or special teams touchdown plus 260 here. And if you want to get really bold, you can take the Bengals to be the team to do that in the plus 500 ballpark. But I think we could see a pick 6 specifically thrown by Matt Stafford, or we could see a fumble, recovery turned into a touchdown taken to the house on both parts. Remember that great pass rush we have from the Rams, damage. We've also seen Akers fumble the ball more than a couple times this playoff so far. I think we're going to see a special teams or defense touchdown here this weekend.
Good stuff. Andrew McInnis, WagerTalk.com. I am Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com. The NBA great season continues. Have a big bet up for tonight on Friday, and we will have that all through the weekend. Also, Super Bowl pack is up with best bets. There's a 5% play in there that I actually had to take down. It was up there for about a week, and then the line moved a little bit, so I decided to take it down. But it's still in there. You're getting a really nice included 5% play with the package that's up right now. So go grab that. All right, my best bet is going to be Mickey Guyton will not show cleavage during the national anthem, like Matt Joseph said. It's pretty simple. Do your research. So when she performed at the Grammys, no cleavage. At the American Music Awards, no cleavage. At the CMA Summer Jam, no cleavage. On the Today Show, no cleavage. And on Jimmy Fallon, none. When she performed live at the Capitol Studios, no cleavage. However, in her music videos, Remember Her Name, she shows cleavage. And in her music video, Heaven Down Here, she shows cleavage. So it's pretty simple. When she does live shows, there's no cleavage. When she does music videos, she lets the puppies fly. So this is a live performance, and I think no is pretty easy at minus 200. So give me as my best bet. Mickey Guyton will not show cleavage during the national anthem. It's going to be a very strange best bet recap. So I like Mickey Guyton to not show cleavage. Andrew McInnis likes there to be a defensive or special teams touchdown. And Matt Josephs likes under 4.5 kickoff returns. Again, the strangest best bets recap in Wager Talk history, I got to believe.
But wait, Andy, will Jalen Guyton show any cleavage on Sunday?
If you can find evidence, yes, yes or no, then
if Antonio Brown is there, will he? There should be a bet for that. Will Antonio Brown take his shirt off
and leave the Super Bowl party? Throws the buffalo chicken dip into the stands and walks out of the house. So, all right, great stuff, guys. What a great NFL season. I hope everyone cashes a bunch of Super Bowl bets. Remember, don't go all in on some of these props. Manage your bankroll wisely, and really appreciate everyone following us this season. For Andrew McInnis at WagerTalk.com, Matt Josephs at SportsMemo.com, I am Andy Lang at WagerTalk.com. Have an incredible Super Bowl, and we will see you next time on Prop It Up.
Fan of Super Bowl props, but not in Las Vegas for the big game? Hosting a Super Bowl party and want to keep everyone entertained? WagerTalk has you covered with our Super Bowl party prop sheet. The concept is simple and is easy for anyone to participate and follow. First, download and print out our Super Bowl 56 party prop sheet. Pass out to everyone at your Super Bowl party and determine the entry fee, if any, and payouts. All they have to do is circle their choices for each prop. And since almost all of them are 50-50, it does not require someone to be a huge football fan or understand sports betting to participate. To get your free Super Bowl party prop sheet, just go to wt.buzz/props and follow us on Twitter at WagerTalk the day of the big game to get results in real time.